cider and a switch night. Ride at the dawn on his motorbike. Looking for legends on the Sunset Strip with a stone cold paranormal partnership. That's what time Rick tried to sell me some crack. Listen to the podcast, man, and take that shit back. It's Urban Legends, the podcast about urban legends. And here your host, Neil and Chris. You'll receive our pod in your ears tonight.
Welcome to Urban Legends, the internet podcast about urban legends, myths, and all kinds of ghosts and ghouls. It's actually the only podcast which is inaudible to the human ear, which seemed like quite a trendy thing to do when we were sitting around in a bebop bar drinking absinthe when we came up with the premise, but actually looking at it now was probably a mistake. I am one of your hosts, Chris Flynn, and with me is Mr. Magic. It's Mr.
Neil Herbert. Well, I disagree, Chris. I think it was a great idea. The silent podcast.
Yeah.
We wouldn't.
Silent podcast.
I
It's
think
good to go to sleep to.
Yeah, I think we should give it a go. Anything where we could be lazier about the content, quote unquote, that we produce. Do you reckon anyone's done that?
Well,
someone's done that, haven't they? Like a 50-minute.
I mean, if you're looking at the label, it says, danger content inside, deadly or something, poisonous.
Because you don't know, although it's it's beyond your hearing, it's having an influence. It's like subliminal.
Well, do you know what? I find it relaxes me knowing that no one will be able to hear it. And I can say all kinds of wild shit.
Oh,
that's all good.
Totally off.
The Queen's a Nazi and lives in the Antarctic.
Oh.
So, Neil, I've just been listening to so in the UK, we've got an election next year, like so many countries.
Good.
And the Conservatives, who are the party in power, their leader, Mr. Pickwick,
yes.
did his speech, and he finally, thank God, announced that they're getting rid of HS2, which is for the uninitiated or non-UK based. The idea was that we'd have a high-speed rail link between the three major kind of urban conurbations, so London, Birmingham, Manchester, and then sort of Leeds, Sheffield kind of zone. So HS1 was from the Channel Tunnel to London, all good. And then HS2, which is about half built. To be fair, it's only cost like 60 billion, and they're only like halfway there. And it's been like 10 years.
Yeah.
That was meant to be from London Euston to Birmingham, but now it's from like some village outside London to Birmingham, I think. So there's going to be a bus in between London.
Oh yeah, you don't want it to be any faster just because it's a high-speed train.
And a lot of people are quite down on this, like people in the north who were promised it. There's meant to be economic and stuff, but at the end of the day, we bit off more than we could chew as a country, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
It was, sure, if you're in Japan, it's technology from the 60s, but for us, absolutely, we don't produce Brunels anymore, do we?
No,
we produce Tonys.
So.
So that's all been cancelled, so that's good. Neil, how do you feel about it? I know you're a big train guy.
Oh yeah, no, I mean,
you think it's good?
Well, I mean,
you spend a lot of time on the Bluebell Railway, don't you, in the summer?
Down here faster? No, yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, no, I went around when I was on holiday. Well, I mean, you go to other countries and it's they're ridiculously ahead of us in terms of all their infrastructure.
They just do it.
They just get on with it. But we can't. We don't seem to be able to do it in Britain for some reason.
I mean, it's more expensive to do it in this country because of the price of land and all of that kind of stuff. But you should still be able to do it, like, without it spiraling out of control. I mean, you would think those might be things you'd think about when you were saying how much it would cost. But anyway.
Yeah. There you go.
It's enough of that, Neil. That's something.
Rolling out the gates with a bit of project management.
Bit of project management, but I think that's why it annoys me so much, because I'm a qualified project manager.
Mm-hmm.
You know. There's a couple of bits I need to get through before we go on to the legend.
Oh, that's fine.
So you remember a couple of weeks back, I said on the podcast that we were talking about bands and us having been in bands.
Indeed.
And I said that Graham Howitt had said that, who was a friend of ours and an ex-bandmate, Graham Howitt said that I was like Fred Durst, and I said that I'd punched his head clean off.
Yes.
Now, it turns out I may have embellished that, because I bumped him. Graham listens to the podcast, and I bumped into him down Boundary Road. He was outside the Wimpy as normal, selling cigarettes out of a plastic bag.
Yes, yeah.
And so he was very forceful in what he said, and he and there were some things that I might have got wrong.
He beat you up, make you cry.
No, but he did say that when he said that I was like Fred Durst, he said that I looked like I was going to punch him, and he put me directly into hospital. And he said that I probably don't remember it because I had a 30% loss of brain function.
Yeah, for various reasons.
So yeah, I mean, and that's often why I get my worms wrong. But he just wanted to be clear that apparently I was in a coma for a few months now. I don't remember any of it, so maybe I dreamt the other thing. But so there you go, Graham. No need to do that stuff which you said.
There you go. Good to get back.
The other thing, Neil. So I'm on the dating scene, as you know.
Yeah. But
I'm not very good at pickup lines, so I've been writing some down, and I'd like you to score me. Okay, imagine you're a fine lady.
Indeed.
I'd like you to give me a score out of how many peppers out of 10 for hotness.
Okay. Right. Kind of Scoville rating. Yeah.
You look really uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, I wonder why.
What? This is what friends do.
Go on then, let's do it.
They help each other out. They don't roll their eyes at each other.
Wow.
Like one of those grumpy Muppets. Right, you're right. We're okay. So
you're going to start with the really good stuff, or you're going to work your way up.
It gets there's 3 and they get worse.
Okay.
So
I'll
in my opinion, but in yours,
hey, who knows? Maybe I like the last one best.
Better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is why I need advice.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine.
This is what I need. So, hello. Did it cause you any long-term injuries or chronic conditions I should be aware of before I take this any further? When you fell from heaven. So score out. Give me a pepper score.
I mean, it's half a red pepper in terms of heat.
Oh, really?
I mean, it's not a green pepper. They're a bit mild, aren't they?
It's not green. That's good.
But
they're horrible. So you're not liking it?
Well, I sort of got bored halfway through the sentence. But you alighted where I thought you would. Yeah. Bit of a cliche.
Okay. Right, here's the second one. Hello. What was your reasoning behind running away? Do I need to contact anyone who could offer you support? I need to know some of the details before I let God know one of his angels is missing. Just in case, God had been up to something.
Is what you've done here, Chris, is just taken a bunch of cheesy pickup lines and just sort of overwritten them.
That's what I've done in the first.
In an attempt to sound more elegant.
I thought I had to give him. I had to give it my own spin. Well, no, because it's, these days you've got to be careful, haven't you? So you wouldn't just say, oh, I just called heaven, an angel's missing, because you don't know why she left heaven, because it could have been she was trafficked into heaven or something. So you need to get a bit of background. Do you know what I mean? Like, you need to know what's going on. And with the other one, you want to see if they're like just for your own peace of mind and to know what you're getting into, you need to know if the person has any chronic conditions when from when they fell from heaven.
Yeah.
Because it might not be something actually long term that you feel that you're equipped to deal with. And it wouldn't be fair on either of you.
Yeah, it's good to get that out of the way.
So how many peppers for the second one? So does that make them hotter now that you understand the context behind them?
Yeah, it's going to turn into half a jalapeno now.
Can you stop changing the types of pepper? It's like these are all red peppers.
Well, no, they're all in terms of okay. So okay,
no, because it's out of 10, isn't it?
Right, okay, that's 3/4.
You keep changing the scale.
Well, I thought you were doing it in terms of heat, but okay, fine. I won't move on to Chipotle Subway sauce next. So yeah, right, 3/4 of red pepper. There you go. Got from half to 3/4.
3/4 of red pepper.
Yeah.
Okay, and the last one's more punchy. I must have forgotten to take my antipsychotics again because Marilyn Monroe's dead, but she's also run in front of me. What do you reckon?
You know when you those bits inside the pepper with all the seeds and stuff, you got to sort of cut them out and then that bit.
Right. So what's that, like a quarter? Yeah. Is it because I mentioned my antipsychotics and also the fact that I forget to take them?
Yeah, that was instantly off-putting. I was like, I'm dry like the Sahara now.
You see, and aren't I glad I didn't use this with the girl at the Tesco's now?
Needs more work.
So Neil, as a little treat for you, you don't know what the topic is today, do you?
I do not know. No, I have no idea.
And I've chosen a topic from your favourite country, which is. Is
I don't know. What is my favourite country?
Which is
Iceland.
Japan. That's right.
Yes.
So today we are on Nippon.com, and we're looking at the Utsuro Bune, which is a UFO legend from Japan from the 19th century.
19th century, interesting.
And it was it's well reported, and there's lots of pictures and stuff on what were the equivalent to newspapers in Japan in those days, and it looks like a UFO. So,
and is this like sort of like all on silver plate photography, or are these like paintings or like?
No, it's earlier than that. Okay. So, do you want me to send you a link?
Yeah, sure.
Can do. Hey, sure.
Hey,
Neil, do you know what? It's no problem. With technology these days, you can easily send links. Okay, so a mysterious event in Japan at the beginning of the 19th century shows surprising similarities with the stories of UFOs. And this is by Tanaka Kazuo.
Professor Emeritus at Japan University.
Yeah, no, he's got creds, street creds.
Close shit.
Street creds and academic creds, same thing. Okay. That's why, it's Dr. Dre's popular.
I like just looking down a little bit. There's one bit entitled A Ninja's Report. Anyway.
I know, it's good, isn't it?
That's good. Right.
So in 1803, a round vessel drifted ashore on the Japanese coast, and a beautiful woman emerged, wearing strange clothing and carrying a box. She was unable to communicate with the locals, and her craft was marked with mysterious writing. The story of Utsuro Bune, or Hollow Ship, in the province of Hitachi, which I know because of the manufactured electronics.
Yeah.
Now, Ibaraki Prefecture is found in many records of the Edo period. And Tanaka Kazuo, Professor Emeritus at Gifu University, has studied the topic for many years. What drew him away from his main research area, applied optics, to investigate this curious episode and what really took place?
You got bored.
You're bored? He got bored.
No, of applied optics.
Is
he
that
suddenly
boring?
realised in his sixth? I don't know. I'm not sure what.
What's that? Just looking through binoculars or something?
Yeah, which is
Looks at
making
binoculars,
glasses,
yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, the local lie though.
Doesn't
Get
he
arrested
specialise
for
in
that,
optical
son.
information engineering? It sounds like quite
You're
interesting.
likely to lose an eye. Looking at my
Nice.
sister. So, Tanaka says he began to research the ship after the deadly subway sarin attacks in 1995
Red flag.
by the by the Shirikyu cult, which is not Golden Dawn, is it? I can't remember. Might be. He says there was a lot of coverage of founder Ashara Shoko's prophecies and claims to be able to float in the air. Yet the cult's senior members were part of the scientific elite. I started giving lectures considering paranormal phenomenon from a scientific perspective, which meant I was collecting all kinds of materials for teaching, such as about UFOs in the United States and Japanese folklore. While doing so, I came across the Utsuro Bune legend. Long before the American UFO stories, the craft depicted in the Edo period Japanese document for some reason looked like a flying saucer. This was fascinating to me. I know you've seen some pictures of it now. Would you say that looks like a flying saucer?
I mean, could be a flying saucer, could be a colander. It does sort of look.
How many women in strange clothes do you know that get out colanders? Come on, Neil.
Plenty. Don't you worry about it.
Oh, really? Okay. Specialist clubs.
Yeah.
we call it salading.
Yeah.
Tossing the lettuce.
If you know, you know.
Yeah. Don't ask, don't tell.
Yeah. Yeah, it does a little bit. Yeah. I mean, it could be. It's one of those things, isn't it? It's sort of. It could be a number of things. It's like a vaguely. Yeah. It's not quite the same disc shape, but it's kind of yeah. Okay, interesting.
Well, there are different pictures of it.
Yeah.
So, UFOs became a modern sensation after the media reported U.S. businessman Kenneth Arnold as having witnessed flying saucers on June 24th, 1947. A flood of similar stories followed around the world. Most famously, a UFO was alleged to have crashed on the ground near Roswell, New Mexico, in July 1947. In the end, though, no wrecks or alien bodies were discovered, Tanaka says. There was only the ambiguous testament of witnesses. It was the same with all the other UFO stories from around the world. There were mysteries without any substantial evidence. The Utsuro Bune legend, however, has a number of documents to examine as leads. So in this sense, for a researcher it's a mystery with substance.
Fair enough.
So,
Fair enough. No, I was just saying, okay. Yeah. Tell me more.
So a ninja report. Well, yeah. I mean, what I'd say, like these days, you've got all of the stuff that the Navy have kind of, US Air Force have released, or US Navy, haven't you? The kind of spinning top and all of that kind of stuff.
You get photos and videos of things that are weird, but
what do you think they are, Neil? This is what I'm asking you. You're a skeptic. What do you think they are? The kind of crafts which are being seen on kind of like naval cameras and stuff, which they can't explain. What do you think they are?
I don't know. Ghosts? It could be some sort of optical illusion. Don't really know. Poltergeist.
But you don't think they're aliens, so you don't think they're.
No. I don't know why you'd sort of come all this way just to sort of like fly around quickly and then bugger off. I mean, you could just be having a look, I suppose, but
if they are buggering off,
yeah. Well, are they becoming prime minister?
I'm hearing that. So I'm hearing now.
I mean, Liz Truss certainly doesn't strike me as a human being. There's something.
Well, if you think about it, a base under the sea makes more sense because atmospheres very unpredictable. like from planet to planet. Whereas if you've got liquid water, doesn't matter what planet you're on, if there is liquid water, then it's always going to be between the temperatures of freezing and boiling. So it's a known thing that you can
Aliens
stay
might
in.
have gills as well. I don't know. Maybe they're sea-breathing creatures.
Yeah, or they could just have ships.
Yeah. Who knows?
Do you think they're from the lost city of Flonta?
Hey,
Could
who
be, couldn't
knows?
they?
Could be.
Do you remember when we spoke to that guy? He was good, wasn't he?
Certainly was.
So, a ninja's report. There are similar oral traditions about hollow ships across Japan in the Edo period. Tanaka's research is focused on the various documents that describe the 1803 incident in Hitachi and include illustrations of a beautiful woman and a strange vessel, although they cite different dates. One of the best-known sources is the Toan Stories, an 1825 collection recording fantastic rumours, which was written by the Tonakai Literary Circle and edited by Kyokutai Bakin, famous for his lengthy historical romance, Nanso Satumi Hakanden, The 8-Dog Chronicles, which is all 8 dogs. It's what I think of when I think of romance, Neil. Don't know about you.
Indeed.
Romance, where better to pick someone up than an illegal dog fight. That's what I always say.
I mean, I will say it's no plum dust.
You've already got a common interest.
That's true. I mean, I like the 8-Dog Chronicles, but they're no plum dust. Sorry, I was just reading on in the article. So apparently there's an 1844 work called Plum Dust, or Ubeno Shiri.
There is. Plum dust sounds more erotic, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose. Rather than 8 dogs.
Depends on your perspective.
So as Neil has already, just whatever you're into, I'm not here to judge. So others are Nagashi Matajiro's 1844 work, Plum Dust, as Neil just said, as well as collections like Oshuku Zaki, which is Oshuku Notes, Hiroka Zuihishu, essays by Hirokata, and something called Records of Castaways, which gathers stories of foreign ships washed up in Japan and of Japanese sailors who came ashore overseas. There's some pictures there. Mm-hmm. So at first, Tanaka theorized that the incident was an embellished account concerning a shipwrecked Russian whaler, but he could not find any mention of such a disaster in official records. Well, official records, Russia, get it, do you know what I mean? Know what they're like. Instead, he discovered new materials, becoming absorbed in further background research. To date, he has found 11 documents relating to the Hitachi Utsuro Bune legend, of which the most interesting are thought to date from 1803, the same year the craft was said to have come ashore. One is the Mito Busho, the Mito document, owned by a collector in Mito. Tanaka noticed that the woman's clothing in the illustration of the work was similar to that of the Buddha Vista statue at the Shofukuji temple in Kemisu. So could be from India,
yeah,
Buddha Vista, or that old kind of Himalayan kind of zone.
Yeah,
Don't know why they'd have ships in the Himalayas.
Could be a coracle. They're kind of round.
Maybe that's why it's round. Maybe it's you get in it, and then like the barrel going over the waterfall. You just tip yourself over and then go down the mountain, get down nice quick. So that statue of the Buddha Vista was dedicated to the raising of silkworms. A legend credits the start of the sericulture at the start of sericulture in the area to Princess Kunjiki, or the Golden Princess, who is a motif in the images at the temple. In one version of the story, Princess Kunjiki washes up on shore after travelling from India on a dugout boat in the shape of a cocoon.
Okay. There you go.
Like the film Cocoon.
Yes. Do you think Tom Hanks was? No, Tom Hanks wasn't in that, was it? It was Steve Gutenberg. Get myself.
Was it?
Ghost.
I remember very little of it, apart from old people go off to aliens.
Well, there was old people, and there was Wilford Brimley, and he was about 28 when he was in it. He just always looked pretty old.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, I think he was in his 40s actually, but yeah, nonetheless, I mean, you got like Donald Damesh, whatever his geezer's name was, he was in his 80s, and yeah, Wilford Brimley, I think he was still in his like 40s or early 50s at the time, but he's just always looked pretty ancient.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think I think it's Michael Chiklis. He
from The Shield.
Oh, what was it? Yeah, but he was in something before that where he was also like a cop, and I think he still had a bit of hair.
Oh, no, it's called oh God, what's it called?
Yeah,
it's called like
I want to say Coach, but it's not. But it's something like that. It's like
it's a
soup or something.
A shortened word for something. It's like like the soup or the kosh or something. But yeah, I can't remember. I'm gonna have to IMDb.
Oh, the commish.
The commish. That's it.
It's called the commish.
Yeah. I think that was.
Yeah, he's in that, and he looks like about. Yeah, he looks like 50, but he's 28.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
Yeah, some people just kind of like have that.
Anyway,
look.
Yeah, just look old. So the Golden Princess, she repays the kindness of a local couple who try and nurse her back to health by bestowing on them the secret of sericulture. So sericulture is silkworms management.
Yeah, it's growing of like horticulture, but for silkworms. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. When she herself becomes a silkworm after a death. Amongst the various materials, only the illustration in the Mita document appears greatly similar to Princess Kojiki. Tanaka thinks that when the first rumours of a hollow ship coming ashore at a beach called Kashimanda were spreading, the people of Shikuji may have decided to incorporate it into the promotion of the temple. Nice.
There you go. Sell some more of that silk. I mean, the thing is, they've had... I mean, the thing is, this must be... Like, they didn't start the silkworm stuff. I mean, that goes back to... thousands of years ago, doesn't it? Because I mean, Marco Polo was kind of like going over trying to.
Yeah.
They wanted, one of the things I think they wanted to do is to try and get hold of some silk. Yeah, but that's only one of the things Westerners going over. They were trying to get hold of some silk pods, or what it was, silkworm pods, to bring them back because they wanted to know how to grow. You know,
it's actually really horrible, the process of making silk. Like, so the silkworm is like a butterfly's caterpillar, basically, and its cocoon is what the silk is. And so when it cocoons itself up to become butterfly, they bang it into a big thing of boiling water, and then like take the threads out from that. So just sort of boil it to death while it's turning into a butterfly.
You need a certain type though as well, don't you? Well, makes lovely clothes, Chris. So,
yeah, I mean that's not. Huh? It is soft clothing, yeah, that's true. So another more important source is the Bankei document owned by Kawakami Jinchi, the heir to ninja arts tradition and a ninjutsu researcher and martial artists.
Yeah, so two
it is
lots
named
of
after the Bankei or the Ban family. What? Ninjutsu?
No, I mean, yeah.
Kind of cutting out a bit again, mate.
Yeah, right, yeah. Well, a lot of the so-called ninjas knocking around these days, it's all nonsense, isn't it? But I'm not saying that there isn't. There was a thing called ninjutsu back in the day, but
How many ninjas are you meeting on a day-to-day basis when you're saying there's ninjas knocking about? You meet a lot of them, are you?
No, there's
getting in your
supposedly
face?
you can. There's people who train you in ninjutsu and stuff, isn't there? So I always wonder how they learn how some assassination techniques from medieval Japan or whatever. I mean, there are a dime a dozen in Britain, as you know, Chris.
What, ninjas?
Yeah,
I haven't seen one in a while.
falling with them with their smoke bombs and their. It's because they stay hidden. That's why you're not
Running
keeping your
across
eyes
the
open.
roofs of the local Argus.
Turning into a puff of smoke when you look around to see it.
No, I don't keep my eyes out. I refuse to engage with them, and then they just tend to walk off disappointed, tail between their legs.
Yeah, it's probably the better thing to do.
So he's so while some other materials say the vessel came ashore at locations like Hayadori or Hara Tukahama, there is no evidence that such places exist. This document, however, records the location at Hiatachihara, Sharihama, which appears on a map produced by the famous cartographer Indo Tatataka and is now known as Hasaki Sharihama in Kamisu. I wasn't expecting so many Japanese words in this article.
Yeah.
So Tanaka comments that while the other materials show geographical inconsistencies, this document mentions a real place name. He says that Kawakami suggested a Banki member might have been assembling information while working for the head of the Owari Dominion, now Aichi Prefecture. If so, he wouldn't record any untruths, so we can say the document is very reliable.
Might have been, and yeah. Okay, it all seems a bit.
Well,
anyway,
so awaiting new revelations. The folklorist Yanagita Kunio once said that of all the Utsuro Bune legends were groundless fictions, but in the case of Hitachi's Utsuro Bune, there is a clear difference from the other stories around the country. Tanaka says, for one, it's specified in having taken place in 1803. And then it's strange that there are specific pictures of the craft showing it resembling as a flying saucer. I feel it's probably based on something that really happened. But Japan was largely closed off then, so if it was a wreck of the foreign ship or foreign people around in the country, it would have been a huge event and government officials would have investigated and left a public document. When British sailors entered Otsuhama in 1824, it became one of the causes of an edict to repel foreign vessels for the following year. So it might be there was a witness testimony of something taking place for just a short time at Kashimanada. It is possible that it became tied in with earlier Utsuro Bune legends. Just as the description of the woman's clothing vary depending on the document, so do those of the shape and size of her vessel. For example, records of a castaway says it was around 3.3 meters high and 5.4 meters wide when converted into current measurements, and that it was made of rosewood and iron with glass and crystal windows. I'm not sure whether records of a castaway was an official document. There are 2 volumes altogether, and apart from the Utsuro Bune, they're all incidents that actually took place. This suggests the writer at least believed that the Utsuro Bune was really washed up to shore. Tanaka says, there are countless mysteries connected with the hollow ship, such as the meaning of the scripts written inside it. Tanaka says that one theory was it resembles the pseudo-Roman letters sometimes seen on the border of ukiyo-e prints. So it might just be simply decorative, although it's not impossible that we discover evidence of it's an alien script.
Yeah, well, the aliens invented Latin, didn't they?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, as we know.
There are likely to be further discoveries of currently unknown materials related to the Utsuro Bune and the new revelations, this legend is so appealing because it's possible to come up with so many different theories. Having a story like this in Japan from 140 years before the UFO sightings, that can stimulate the imagination, and to this extent reminds me how deep and fascinating Japanese culture can be. So, all good. So I'm going to have a little look on Wiki here, because it's quite big. So here's the actual legend.
Oh, got them, yeah.
So they haven't actually given us the legend, have they?
Not really, no.
So
it's more just about some documents.
On February 22nd, 1803, fishermen on the Harayadori coast of Hitachi province saw a strange vessel drifting in the sea. And where's the Hitachi province? Okay, so it's just north of Tokyo. So it's on the other side of the island to mainland Asia. Don't know if that means anything to you. They towed the vessel to land and discovered it was 10.83 feet in height and 17.88 feet wide. The shape reminded them of a kohako, a Japanese incense burner. The upper part appeared to be made of red lacquered rosewood, while the lower part was covered with metal plates. The upper part had several windows made of glass and crystal, covered with bars and clogged up with some kind of tree resin. The shape of the hollow boat resembled a wooden rice pit. The windows were completely transparent, and the baffled fisherman looked inside. The inner side of the Utsuro Bune was decorated with text written in an unknown language. Oddly enough, one of the symbols inside the vessel resembled South Korea's current flag. The fisherman found items inside, such as 2 bed sheets, a bottle filled with 3.6 litres of water, some cake, and kneaded meat. So what this is, in my head. Now, the pods thing is, do you remember at the end of Octopussy, the James Bond film, where they're in they escape the underwater place in an escape pod, and it's just 1970s shag pads and a bottle of champagne.
Yeah. I can only remember him coming in some alligator and then coming out and then tuxedo or something.
Q goes to pick up the boat or whatever, to go and get he's on a rescue ship to crane it out, but I think James looks out and then shuts the curtains or something. He goes, "Oh, bombs!" or something like that. So I'm imagining it's like that. So it could have been
something
James.
Witty I'm just nobbing, Q.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry, Q. I'm just having a fuck.
Yeah. Hilarious witty banter. I said it wasn't that one, but I can't. It was the one where he was in space or whatever. It's exactly the same scene, effectively, and he's just attempting re-entry.
Was that Octopussy? Yeah,
Moonraker.
Was that Octopussy? Moonraker. That's it.
Yeah.
So inside, along with the 3.6, very specific 3.6 litres of water, the fisherman saw a young woman, possibly 18 or 20 years old, but not 19. Her body size was said to be 4.92 feet tall. It's quite short, but I guess in those days in Asia, probably not. The woman had red hair and eyebrows. The hair elongated by artificial white extensions. Sounds like Jerry Halliwell.
Yeah, could be.
The extensions could have been Jerry Halliwell having just had sex with Roger Moore.
Yeah.
In some kind of
interdimensional
Spice Girls
movie
film.
Yeah.
Do you know what? It could well have. I've certainly not seen it.
No, I don't. I'm afraid I missed that.
So the extensions could have been made of white fur or thin white powder textile streaks. This hairstyle cannot be found in any literature. The skin of the lady was very pale and pink-coloured. She wore long, smooth clothes of unknown fabrics in the shape of a Union Jack.
Yeah.
The woman began speaking, but no one understood her. She did not seem to understand a fisherman either, so no one could ask her about her origin. Although the mysterious woman appeared friendly and courteous, she acted oddly. She always clutched a quadratic box made of a pale material around 24 inches inside. The woman did not allow anyone to touch the box, no matter how kindly or pressingly the witnesses asked. It's like a clutch bag, isn't it?
Yeah, could be.
So the old man from the village theorized this woman could be a princess of a foreign realm who married in her homeland. When she had an affair with the townsman after marriage, it caused a scandal, and the lover was killed for punishment, and the princess was banned from her home. And then, because she enjoyed lots of sympathy, she escaped the death penalty. They said she might have been exposed in that Utsuro Bune to leave her to her destiny. And if this should be correct, the box may contain the head of the woman's deceased lover. In the past, a very similar object where the woman washed ashore and close by a beach. Seems like he's
that's an interesting
reaching, isn't he?
Yeah, it seems like, I might as well theorise. It's
the
like,
obvious
well,
answer-
she
the
obviously
obvious
grew up in
answer.
society like Mad Max 3, and then they span the wheel and put her in a box and float her down the river. We can make up any old. Yeah. Yeah, that's a weirdly specific scenario.
The old man in the village theorized.
Yeah.
So during the incident, a small board with a pinned head was found. The context of the box could therefore be the same, which would certainly explain why she protected it so much. It will cost lots of money and time to investigate the woman and her boat, since it seemed to be a tradition to expose those boats to sea. The Pounds people thought they should bring the woman back to the Utsuro Bune and let her drift off. Fuck off.
Yeah.
I know it's going to cost. Oh, Mark, you'll give me a blinder behind the eyes. It's going to cost time and money, which I do not have. Get her back into Utsuro Bune and kick her.
Why would it
back
cost
at
her
the
the time
sea.
and money to investigate her in a boat? I mean, just try and,
Because we've got costs, Neil.
just another mouth
Got
to feed.
costs. Wink, wink, wink.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Got to grease a few palms.
Right, back in your boat, off your pop.
Apparently, the townspeople were frightened.
Well, you would be.
In a
Terrified.
different version, the lady from the hollow boat stays where she landed and grows to an old age. From humans' sight, it might be cruel, but it seemed to be her predetermined destiny. The fishermen reassembled the Utsuro Bune, placed a woman in it, and sent it to drift away in the ocean. So when she died, off you pop.
I mean, it sounds just like a kind of fantasy story, doesn't it?
Yeah, except for it's kind of recorded in documents.
Yeah.
So there were similar ones, but I think that's the most.
That's the one that it's all sort of based on. Yeah, it looks like there's one from the 7th century, but I don't know. I mean, that's like an old legend. So there seems to be a bit of a thing here.
Yeah. So
Strange women rocking up in boats.
So there have been some investigations over the years. The first historical investigation of the Utsuro Bune incidents were conducted in 1944 by Kyo Kuti back in. Kyo Kuti reports about a book called Roshia Bunkeruku, the records of seen and heard things from Russia. The book describes traditional Russian clothes and hairstyles and mentions popular method to dust hair with white powder. It also mentions that many Russian women have naturally red hair and they wear skirts similar to that of the lady in the legend. Based upon the book, he suggests that the woman of the Utsuro Bune incident could have been of Russian origin, which, fair enough.
Mm.
He writes that stories are similar to each other and they differ only in minor descriptions. He also questions the origins of the alleged exotic symbols found on the boat because he is convinced that he saw similar signs on a British whaler stranded shortly before his writing. Kuti wonders if the woman was a Russian, British, or even an American princess. America doesn't have princesses, apart from Paris Hilton.
Well, yeah.
Further, he expresses his disappointment about the drawings of the Utsuro Bune because they obviously do not fully match what the witness had described. So there are some other ones, but so ufological. In ufology, the legend of the Utsuro Bune has described as an early case of a documented close encounter of the third kind, based on the similarities between the drawings of the vessel from the Edo period and 20th century descriptions of flying saucers. Some ufologists suggest that Utsuro Bune could have been an unidentified submerged object, a USO.
Oh, there you go.
They note the mysterious symbols which were reportedly found on the object that regularly appear in addenda within the descriptions. They are suggested by some to be similar to the symbols reported from the Rendlesham Forest incident in England. Drawings of odd figures and unknown symbols have also been found in caves. UFO proponents further point to the woman's box, her physical appearance, and unusual dress as evidence of off-world human visitation. So it's appeared in manga and anime, unsurprisingly. And
the third
that's
series Cities of Gold, apparently. I remember just seeing that when I was a kid. I don't remember the Utsuro Bune.
One day we'll find us the city of gold. Oh. Yeah, I remember that.
It seemed to go on for about 5 years when I was a kid, but I think I looked it up once and there was only about 20 odd episodes.
Yeah, I don't remember anything. I remember it being quite boring.
Yeah, it just seemed to go on for ages. Yeah. It was a bit like the lost of its time for kids, because it was kind of like, it sort of all seemed to promise that something exciting was going to happen, but nothing really did. Oh, there's a compelling mystery for next week. Oh, no, there isn't. Never mind. See you next week.
Because they were basically trying to find, what's it called? The City of Gold in the Amazon.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. It's been a long time.
Well, what's it called?
El Dorado?
El Dorado, that's it. They were basically trying to find El Dorado. So the problem you've got there, unlike if you've got like a case-by-case thing, is they find El Dorado, end of series. Yeah. But then the rest of it is just like them going through a jungle where, not a lot happens. What's going to happen? Like, monkey going to jump at you, is it? Not bothered.
Might do.
Do you know what I mean? The safest place on the earth, the jungle. Isn't it?
Good point.
Perfectly safe. Yep.
I didn't think it.
Good cover from snipers. That's the main thing. Worst thing that's going to happen is you meet an illegal logging camp and they kill you to keep you quiet.
Yeah, that's true. Or an unknown tribe just to sacrifice you.
I don't know. I think, they might all worship you as a god.
Yeah, that's true.
Who knows?
Don't know which way it's going to go.
That's why you go in the jungle, isn't it? Because you're a gambler.
That's true.
Take the risk. Sacrifice or gods.
Yeah.
That's it, Neil. That's it. Bit drier than I was expecting. It is something that exists.
I will say that it says on the modern investigations here that Kazuo Tanaka basically he dismisses the idea that they're UFOs, and apparently they're not dissimilar to boats that would have been at that time, other than the sort of like the glass and stuff. I mean, it does. He thinks it's kind of a mixture of folklore and what have you. Yeah, it's quite an interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I'd never heard of these, obviously.
No,
so the
never
idea
until yesterday.
Yeah, the idea they're kind of like. I mean, I like the idea of kind of like UFOs from 150 years back, but yeah, I mean that's just
steampunk UFOs.
Yeah. Oh, you'd love it, yeah, because it's a bit steampunk.
Yeah, perfect steampunk UFOs.
Yeah,
fly using giant springs and big engines.
Big chimney. It's got a little railway and stuff on it.
Yeah, well, you got your piston, and that works to propellers, Neil.
Yes,
as long as you've got enough coal or coke. Coke, if you're a fancy boy. All right, well, let's go through our scoring system. See, I don't think it's going to be high, but you never do know.
You never
So,
do.
Neil, spookiness. What do you reckon? 10?
Yeah, I mean, this has got
I
the
want to
hair
put
standing
words
up
in
the
your
back of my
mouth.
neck. I mean, to be fair, I can't really. It's not spooky, is it? But I can't. It's not trying to be. It's just it's sort of. I mean, I suppose you could maybe make an argument that it's a bit uncanny, but even then, it's just. I mean, they're drawings, and you can interpret what you like from them. And that they look very much like coracles to me. They're all sort of like, some of them are sort of round, look like sort of helmets, but no, they look more like coracles than anything else. And I don't know how much they do. Is the problem with UFOs because it's so yeah, you could pretty much turn
They've got
anything you
different
like into
designs,
a
haven't they?
UFO. Yeah, it doesn't look as much like a UFO to me, but it's a nice the idea that could be UFO 150 years ago, but that's mainly what's going on. But yeah, that's not really that spooky. It's going to have to be a 1 for spookiness because it's not. They find a woman who can't speak. Do you remember when was that guy? There was that I think it was turned out to be a German tourist or something. He was found. I think he was wandering around like the Seven Sisters or something, or on Beachy Head, and
What?
there was a chap, and he couldn't speak
Near us.
English, and he was basically they couldn't identify him for quite a while. They did eventually. I can't remember the details what it was, but there was a little mystery for about a couple of weeks. There was a guy who was found wandering around. He didn't have any identification or anything, and he didn't speak English. Anyway, yeah, I can't remember the details. It's probably not worth bringing up, but yeah,
I mean, how does that happen with translations and stuff?
well, yeah, no, exactly. I can't remember. I don't know whether he was kind of like he was because I don't think he was generally mute, but he was. Oh God, I'd have to look.
Did he
I
have
think
like
he may not have been
learning,
speaking or something like that. No, I
learning
think
difficulties or something?
yeah. Honestly, I can't remember the details. I don't want to speculate, but it's kind of yeah. And all I really remember is I mean maybe that just he wasn't speaking at all at the time because obviously he'd been. But I think they did eventually manage to sort of trace back and figure out who it was. But
That's really like. Can you imagine being in a foreign country going fuck? Like, I mean, it's the UK, so like you're only about a 10-minute walk from a town either way. But you're
Yeah.
wandering around Seven Sisters, you're like, oh fuck, I've missed the last bus or whatever. And some people are like, oh, you lost. Like, do you need a hand? So you just go, do you know what? I'm just going to stay silent and see what happens.
let's see how far
It's
I can
going to
push
be
this.
quiet for as long as possible.
Yeah.
Police come along. Oh, right, this is interesting. Right, let's see what they do next.
Yeah.
Just weird contrarian.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think there may have been some kind of like yeah, I don't know.
Seagull had
some
nicked his
mental health
tongue.
issue or something along those lines, but
Yeah.
I can't remember. But anyway, it was just a bit of a mystery for a little while until they managed to then track him down, find his family or something. I think was how it ended up. But yeah, so yeah, I mean it's yeah. So not anyway. The point is though, not spooky. Unfortunately, it's not really trying to be. In fairness, but yeah, I can't really give it higher than a 1 because it's not.
So I'm going to give it a little higher. The reason being, like, none of them recognise this kind of thing, and I would imagine that people in a fishing village in 1803, anywhere in the world, but in Japan as well, would have been probably quite superstitious, probably believed in like the old gods and stuff. So it'd be like, what the fuck's this? Do you know? It'd be like something out of like something coming out of stories into real life.
Just an spirit,
I think that
bit of Shinto business.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. They're a bit more relaxed about it, but I can, I imagine it's quite jarring to see something so unusual. So I'm going to give it. That doesn't mean I'm giving it 10. I'm giving it a 2. But I think you
Fair
could be
enough.
like, oh. Yeah. So believability. Well, there's nothing unbelievable going on here, really. I think some of the story, like, I don't know, they seem to be the Utsuro Bune seem to be kind of like a theme throughout sort of Japanese folklore. But I mean, it's not like it's a sea monster or something. It's some kind of transportation device with a human woman in it. It appears, or a humanoid woman at least. Could be like one of them Star Trek ones.
That's true.
Got like
all the Star Trek ones.
Yeah, it looks exactly like a human, but it's got an earring or something.
Cornish pasty on its head or whatever.
But there's nothing there's nothing sort of crazy unbelievable here. So I'm going to give it a 7 for believability now.
Yeah, believe it. I mean, I don't necessarily believe it was UFOs, but I mean, in terms of, the mystery of the various different things it could be. It's a USO, not a UFO. So,
USO.
yeah, and there's enough. I mean, I suspect it was something along the lines of it was something that became embellished.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it could have been, somebody who'd got, I don't know. Maybe somebody did go out to see in a coracle or something, and then go washing up in Japan, and then
Why do you keep going about coracles?
Because it's like a round. I mean, it's on the sea, so it's a boat, and it's
coracles.
really round, so it looks like a coracle to me. Anyway, whatever. And a boat, however you want to put
You
it.
wouldn't use a coracle at sea, would you?
Well, no, not normally. I don't know, but the ones that they're drawing, they look very round. Anyway, apparently it's not that dissimilar to. I mean, who knows, mate? Yeah, it seems to be a bit of a thing. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing intrinsically fantastical about it, so I'll give it an 8.
Right, okay. It's narrative premise now.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite. I like the initial thing where it's like, oh, it's a UFO from 150 years ago. I really like that. A bit like when they did that Predator, but set it back in kind of like 100 odd years ago or whatever. That was quite clever, I thought. Or it's a good way to sort of spin it, make it more interesting. But yeah, it's kind of. But then there's a lot of things that make it look like it's not like the UFO, and so what you landed up with is kind of like a woman rocking up on a boat with a strange box in her, which may or may not contain a lover's head. I don't know. It's not.
Well, I mean, it depending if you believe that rambling old man who came with his theories.
This is why you shouldn't necessarily always trust the village elder. But yeah, I think there's the bones of something. I mean, it's weird, isn't it? I don't know. You could work it up into something. I don't think it's. It's quite unique. I'll say that much. It's kind of like I've not come across something particularly like this before. I suppose the nearest thing to this that we've done is the Green Kids of Woolpit or whatever it was. There's just a couple of kids who turned up who supposedly had green skin, and they may have had, I don't know, some
hulking out.
Yeah. Who knows? Yeah, they were just hulking out probably. So yeah, it's kind of like, no, I quite like the idea of, I think you could. I think the problem is that they don't. Yeah, she either grows really old and then they put her out to sea, or they just pop her straight back in the boat and then knock her out to sea anyway.
No, don't have time for this.
It's not. Yeah, it's not good. So I'm going to give it a 6 because I think it starts quite well. I think it's quite. It is a bit like when we're talking about Lost. It's like if they've done that and they've gone, let's stick the smoke bottles to the back in the box and then just bury it and then said it never happened. They've kind of like buried on that, but fair enough. I mean, I suppose you look at the tale from a folklore perspective. It's as much about, I guess, Japan at the time was fairly insular and they didn't really trust people from other countries. It didn't really open up until the sort of later 19th century, did it? So yeah. So I don't know. Did I give it a score?
6.
6. Yeah.
So
about the ending.
Yeah, I think it's a decent start. Do you know what? Like, I reckon Studio Ghibli could do something with it for sure. Like,
yeah, you'd have to change the story a bit, but
stuff.
Yeah,
but I agree. Yeah, well, you can kind of keep the same story that it turns out that it's a princess from a faraway land. Do you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, but you'd have to put stuff in the middle. Do you know what I mean? Like she washes up on the shore and then ends up growing old in the boat, but you'd need to do something in the middle. Yeah. Well, she has fantastical adventures.
So I think, well, that's it, isn't it? Or she's got more modern technology and teaches them stuff or whatever. That's the thing. So it kind of reminds me. There's a little bit of it which reminds me of all of those really ancient myths about people coming from over the sea with advanced technology and that kind of stuff. You've kind of got that with the Mesoamerican peoples kind of believed in that kind of stuff, and the Assyrians, and like there's loads of different kind of myths of more technologically advanced people rocking up on the sea, and then like teaching them farm
the
and
space
whatever.
of its time.
So it's got, so it's kind of got that ring to it. But I don't mind it. I think it's nice enough, isn't it? It's a nice kid's story.
Nice little story.
Give it a 7. Reach. So I think it's quite well known in Japan, and I think it's known in some UFO circles, but it's not a big well-known one. But it goes back to the 7th century or whatever, potentially. Like this, well, not this one story, but these kind of things.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you mark that really. I mean, it's not got very, very big reach, although it's been in mangas and stuff and they're popular. So I'm going to give it a 4-0.
Yeah, probably around that for me. As you say, it's kind of, just having a look. Yeah, it's been in sort of 3 bits of mangas. Yeah, I don't think it's really gone outside of Japan that much, other than people sort of looking, obviously ufologists look for all sorts of things to tie into, but it's not even clear that, in Japan it's necessarily thought of as a UFO thing. And that's kind of like the interesting interpretation. I think I'll agree. I'll give it a 4.
4, so that gives us a 39. So actually not too bad.
Well, they quite often end in the middle, don't they? There's usually something there. But
they do.
It was a bit different. It was a bit different.
And so I said last week that I'd have a look at doing some more from Ojai. Was that what it's called?
Ojai.
The California town?
Yeah.
Ojai.
Turns out we pretty much covered them in that podcast.
Yeah, I did look into it. And they're pretty much the Charman and the Vampire are the only ones that have got anything, and the rest of them are just like one word thing of, and there's this ghost.
Yeah, there's also some kids that fall off a bridge and stuff. Yeah, there's old Spook Collective.
I couldn't find anything more for it, unfortunately. So I wasn't lying. I was optimistic about. I was lying on purpose. Yeah,
hubris, pure hubris, Chris.
Power play.
Do you want to apologise to the listeners?
It's what turns me on at night. No, I'm not going to apologise to them. They should apologise to me.
Oh, okay.
They can't hear anyway. It's not audible.
No, that's true.
If you want to send us an email with a suggestion, that's urbane.legends.pod@gmail.com. I know you won't. And we have a Twitter, which is @legendsurbane. And if leave us a mark or something or comment, that would be nice. It'd be nice to get our first one, wouldn't it, Neil?
It'd be lovely, wouldn't it? Even if it's a death threat, I'll take anything at this point.
Yeah, I don't mind. Yeah,
hint, hint.
That's another thing that turns me on.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, and hope you have a good weekend and all of that. And we will see you with something a bit weirder, hopefully, this time next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.